Welcome to today's Battle Rhythm. Good afternoon, everybody. Today, we're going to be speaking about creative partnerships for veteran housing solution. Today, this Battle Rhythm will be hosted by Dee Ingram. Dee is the partnership person at the network. The network provides local veteran serving organizations with connections to local resources when a veteran's request cannot be met locally. So if you want to know more about the network, you've got ameriswarriorpartnership.org/the network. That's where you can find out more. That's it for me. Dee, I'm going to pass the ball over to you.
Well, thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody, especially our affiliate communities, our 4-Star Alliance members, our veteran service organizations, and our guests. I'm super excited to present today because this is my first Battle Rhythm hosting. So I feel like I'm just one of those guests. I'm Johnny Carson for the first time. So if I get a little nervous, it's all about me, right? I'm excited today to present to the guests as they speak about how they are addressing the housing challenges faced by veterans, particularly around affordability and accessibility. Today's guest presenters demonstrate that they can offer creative and sustainable housing models for veterans throughout partnerships. Our subject matter experts on each of these specific housing solutions to target the specific needs of these veterans. So we'll begin today by examining a unique partnership between the Habitat for Humanity and their local HUD-VASH. David Michael, Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity of the Tri-State, serving the areas of West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky. Michael DeLaRosa, Founder and Principal Consultant of DeLaRosa Company, along with Heidi Mc Carty, the HUD-VASH Case Manager of Hershel Williams Virginia Medical Center. We'll continue by examining how veteran Andrew Canales, my personal friend, the founding president of Houses for Warriors, is successfully serving the homeless population by combining mental health needs with housing needs. And last but not least, we'll hear from Christa Vutera, the volunteer coordinator at Tunnel for Towers Foundation in Tampa, Florida. And she'll speak to you about how Tunnel to Towers is serving the community's disabled veterans and Gold Star families with children. So the Creative Partnerships for Veteran Housing, David Michael, Executive Director, Habitat for Humanity of the Tri-State Incorporated.
I'm David Michael, and my two partners in this adventure for a long time have been Michael DeLaRosa and Heidi Mc Carty. We can't do this alone. That's for sure. And we found that out through a lot of trial and error, and developed some really cool partnerships along the way. The first one being with our local VA Medical Center. And of course, that's what Heidi's a part of. She's one of our HUD-VASH case managers that we deal with on a day in and day out basis. So before I go down the road about a little bit about our program and how this whole thing evolved, I just want everyone to know that if you don't know what HUD-VASH stands for, that's a Section 8 voucher with case management that's attached to it, provided by your local VA Medical Center case management team. And VASH is Veteran Affairs Supportive Housing. And we have been dabbling in that space since 2014. We started, I'm probably going to go a lot off script, but this PowerPoint presentation will be sent to everybody that's a participant. This is a little bit of the history about why we did this. It was just the right thing to do. We dove into this starting in some discussion with the local VA Medical Center staff in 2012. And as we were rolling out this, or getting to a place where we could roll this program out in 2014, one of the coolest things that we did about this whole program was involved during the program design piece was we involved some of our future home buyers through this program in that discussion. So some of our veterans who are HUD-VASH participants for on the rental side of the equation and have expressed ownership, if there was an opportunity to own their own space, they would like to do that. And that's kind of where we came into the picture, was with this whole thing. So in 2014, we got all of our I's dotted and T's crossed, and blessings from all the folks that we needed to get blessed from. And we broke ground on two of our, what we call our veteran cottages, on September the 11th, 2014, and completed two of those cottages in 60 days, and dedicated both of those on Veterans Day of 2014. And it was that's one of those unforgettable days for our Habitat affiliate. every house dedication is special, but when you do something new and no one else has done before, and it comes together as well as this did, thanks to all these partners along the way, it was just an amazing day to be a part of when we dedicated both of those houses. Toward the end, you'll see a picture of Joe at the front of his house on dedication day. So we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. So they started out as a 600 square foot cottage, 1 bedroom. We added, just due to the change in not wanting to waste any building material, we added 2 feet. They originally started out as 20 by 30. Now they're 20 by 32. So they're 640 square feet. We have one that's that size. The other ones that we've constructed are the smaller 600 square foot version. 80% of our residents have come through the VASH program. We have some other partners that we've dealt with along the way. Just as for instance, we've had a couple of our veteran participants that have come to our program through our veterans home in Barbersville, West Virginia, which is the next community just a few miles up the road from where we're at. We as part of this program, one of the cool things about it, there's no VA loan guarantee. That's a whole nother project that maybe Michael may want to touch base on when we turn it over to him. We haven't cracked that nutshell yet about how to be a VA contractor, or not a VA contractor, but a VA loan-backed construction contractor. We may get there one of these days. We're not quite there yet. But we become the lender. We're also, we're the construction contractor. We become the lender. Our home buyers are paying a 20 or a 25-year interest-free mortgage. We do pull a credit report, but we don't consider medical debt when we're evaluating someone's credit worthiness. We don't even look at their credit score. We just look to make sure folks are managing the debt that they have in an acceptable manner. We've had, our home buyers also, in addition to, if you're familiar with Habitat, great. If not, this is going to give you a down and dirty version of kind of our partnership and how we work with our clients or our future home buyers. We do have a set of required homeowner education classes. And the interesting thing with the curriculum that my certified homebuyer educator uses is the same curriculum that our local PHA partner uses when they're going through their homeownership program. So there was no issue with the homeowner education side of the equation with that, but those are required. We have what we call sweat equity, and that's where home buyers put in time building their own house, the houses of others. If there's a physical limitation, we make some other arrangements so folks can get their sweat equity in. They can work in our Habitat Restore, they can come to our administrative office, that kind of thing. Minimum requirements for sweat equity for a single veteran is 100 hours, and if you're a couple, then it's 200 hours. The other requirements are, we have a small down payment, $250 down payment that's required, and prior to closing on the sale of the house to the veteran home buyer, we require that their first year of their homeowner's insurance premium is paid in full. So far, we've served 18 veterans through this program, and in 2021, we started in partnership with Michael and some other folks working on what we call the pilot program, and that kind of shifted the focus of our program. Prior to that time, and when I say this, it sounds like I'm throwing the VA under the bus, and Heidi and her team, and that's not the case at all. But the way this program worked, our Veterans Housing Initiative worked prior to that time, was when we closed on the sale of the house to the veteran, the case management services stopped on the VA side of the equation because they provided that during the rental time versus the home ownership time. And my staff and I are not, we don't have a Heidi on staff, or none of us are a Heidi. And so we were missing that partnership, that continuing of that case management along for our veteran homebuyers to continue their success, being more successful in owning their property. So that started in 2021. We had started having discussions about that. And in 2022, we actually rolled out this pilot program with some other partners on the habitat side of the equation in Chicago and in Michigan. And it's evolved even a little bit further than that to 3 more locations, and one in Charlotte, one in Manhattan, Kansas, and the other one is in Tampa, Florida. So we've had some interesting participation along the way. We've also had the unfortunate event where we've had, because all of our veterans except for 2 that we've served through this program are Vietnam era veterans. And we've had a couple that have had to move on because of health-related issues. They couldn't stay in their house because of that. And then we've had a couple that have passed on. And that's, while that's unfortunate, it's given us an opportunity to what we call recycle those houses, where they come back into the ownership of Habitat, local Habitat affiliate. We go in and do a rehab on those houses and then sell those to another income eligible veteran for their next step in the home ownership process. So the 3 big things that you need for this partnership to happen is your local Habitat affiliate has to be willing to work in that space, partner hand in glove with the veteran population in your community. Your public housing authority has to be one of the other, that's the second critical piece of that. And then the third piece of that is the HUD-VASH case management team at your local VA medical center, or if you have a way of reaching out to them if they're a little further away than what we would call local. We're fortunate in that Heidi's office and her team's office is about 6 blocks or 8 blocks from where my office is sitting. So we have a really easy time getting to our critical partner in this particular program. I have to say that when we started this program, I get questioned a lot, why did you want to do this? And quite simply, it was just the right thing to do. We had veterans in our community who were paying $400, $500, $600, $700, $800 a month in rent for HUD-approved rental properties, which in some instances weren't the best, but they still passed their inspection criteria. And I politely told one of their case managers at the time that I guarantee that we can develop a program where we can house 2 veterans in 2 brand new houses for what they're paying one rent payment for 1 veteran. And sure enough, over the course of a little bit of time, we were able to do that. And that's part of that gets back to that program design piece. And I'm sure there probably will be some questions about that, and I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully there's enough there for folks to kind of pique your interest, and we'll kind of go on. I do want to give Heidi and Michael some time to talk about our partnership as well. So I'll turn it over to whichever one of you all wants to go next.
You go right ahead, Michael.
Well, I would like to just emphasize that what's really cool about this, right, is the VA has, in our research of this and implementation and scaling of this, they have enough vouchers for veterans, but they don't have enough places for those veterans to be housed with rentals, right? And what David and Heidi were able to accomplish was really introducing a way for these folks who have experienced homelessness to actually make it into home ownership. And it's kind of an ongoing phrase that you'll hear us say is we help them make it all the way home. And what's really cool is that veteran's not paying any more than what they were going to pay for rent. And at the same time, they're learning to reintegrate into the community and just have a piece of land that they can call their own. And what was really smart was all of the detailed collaboration between Heidi's team and David's team. And even, as he said earlier, asking the participants themselves, how can we help you move into this space? What do you need? And making those things happen. And I think at the end of the day, we need to have more cross collaboration between different sectors of the housing continuum, from affordable rental, supportive housing, affordable home ownership. So that way our service members who have earned these other resources that the federal government's providing can be plugged in to the capacity of nonprofits like Habitat for Humanity, which is a builder and can actually design houses that are designed uniquely for the veterans that they're serving. So I just want to congratulate both David and Heidi, and I'll let Heidi offer any other insights she might have from the VA's perspective. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Heidi. I've been with the homeless program for about 10 years now. And when I first started, I heard of this great thing that was going on in Huntington, which had been before me even coming in the program. And that's that Habitat for Humanity actually had been working with our program to identify veterans to move them into home ownership. So, and I always remember Dave talking about, hey, we can use these HUD-VASH vouchers for home ownership. And so there was this ongoing discussion. And then the VA kind of rolled out and said, hey, let's start this pilot. What VAs wanted to be part of this. And of course, because we had such a great relationship with our Habitat, we was like, hey, we'll jump in and we'll do this. So it was a little bit of trying to figure out the players and how we were going to interact with each other. So some of these slides, and I won't go into a lot of detail, it's just kind of like how we had to look at making this work for our veterans. The homes that are primarily available right now are in the Huntington area. And so when we start looking at home ownership, utilizing a HUD-VASH voucher, which is equivalent to the housing choice voucher, it's just the veteran specific. How can we work with our housing authorities to make this work? And so one of the things you'll see is the housing authorities have to have a current and active home ownership program, which the Huntington VA did not. But in order to make home ownership a reality for our veterans, they were very much, how can we make this happen? What do we need to do here in Huntington to make this happen? So our closest housing authority that we do work with in our catchment area was Mingo County Housing Authority. And so they jumped on board. They were able to really work with the Huntington Housing Authority to get memorandums of understanding that allowed some crossover coverage, inspection processes, because all that, kind of goes along with the rental piece, but it's moving that to home ownership. So that's, kind of that process. The greatest thing, and I'm going to kind of leave it at this, that way if anybody has any questions, please look through the PowerPoint that kind of gives some specific examples. And Dave, I don't know if you can move forward to, that's just kind of our processes. We look at our veterans who have been in the program for a year that's had no evictions or disconnection, because we feel those are the individuals that are really becoming more stable and independent in maintaining safe and stable housing. And so we looked at the eligibility criteria. And Dave, I think that example may be on, if not the next, yes, there. And I try to include this, but it looks at, how we want to make sure that the individuals we're referring for home ownership are more of a stable individual, that or a family. There are some income requirements for both a housing choice HUD-VASH voucher as well as the home ownership through the Habitat. I think home ownership through Habitat's a little bit higher at the high end than what a VASH individual participant can be in our area. And there's some kind of finesse things with that. But you can see as an individual for this current time, an individual would have to make at least $15,060 a year, but could not make any more than $30,000 to qualify for the Habitat homeownership. And then you can see over in the other area, for couples, 20,540 to 34,260. And this does change each year. So what we do is we work with Dave and Nikki Hagerman, who works with Dave there in Huntington, to ensure that we do have updated income guidelines, and so that we know who's most appropriate or who's going to fit into that criteria. We always want to make sure from the HUD-VASH standpoint and the homeless that we're not going to give, I guess, false hope. So we want to make sure we have all that information up front before we would move into a discussion with a veteran about homeownership. So one of the things once we talk about it in a team, we say, do we think that this individual or this husband and wife or this family would be good? And so then we approach them and we talk to them about homeownership. And a lot of times we talk to them about everything that encompasses. And we have had several veterans say, no, I don't think that homeownership is for me. And one of the reasons that we have found that is that the veteran knows that, I'm going to have to take on the responsibility of homeownership, maintenance of the home, that's the actual home structure as well as the yard. And so some of the veterans like, I just don't think that that's for me. I prefer renting to where someone else takes on and maintains my home for me. And that's perfectly fine. And then we have others that jump right onto it. Yes, I want to own my home. I want to show my children that home ownership is a possibility, that you can come from being homeless and not having the resources to actually being, a homeowner, which is part of the American dream. So, we really leave the decision up to the individual veteran or veteran and family as to if they want to move forward. So this is just kind of the sheet that we use locally to make that determination. And then once it's completed, we do send it on over to Nikki Hagerman, and that she will then look at this and she will start reaching out to the individuals to get them started in the program. And I think, Dave, we can go on. I think really just to kind of hit some of the highlights and the benefits is that those are just some housing authority things that you're more than welcome to look at. It kind of touches on their requirements for home ownership, the laws that govern their home ownership program. But really, when we look at the overall reason we're doing this for our veterans is it gives affordable home ownership. Through this program, they have the upfront support of Habitat and working through the building your credit, looking at what that credit is. What do we need to be able to purchase a home that they don't always have when you're going through a traditional home loan process through a bank? And it's just like you need to do this, 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 or provide this, this, this. Habitat really works through that process with the veterans. Our housing authority, they work with the veterans to ensure inspections and those types of things are appropriate, and work with the Habitat for any identified need regarding that. And then, as Dave really pointed out, this pilot project, the biggest thing that I think is beneficial is, as Dave said, when they become homeowners and they accept the keys, we do not pull out as a VA support person. We continue in the home to provide that case management. And so sometimes you'll find somebody that's, may have a struggling month. And so we can be there to help provide community resources, continue to be that emotional support for them, continue to help link them with both VA medical mental health services as well as those are in the community. And so I think that that's really been one of the biggest things that I've seen our veterans really enjoy is continuing to have that support and not just having somebody say, thanks for working with us for 10, 11 years. You're now a homeowner. See you later. But knowing that we're going to continue with them during that transition. Our visits and contact may not be monthly or weekly, but we look at that level of need for those homeowners, and that's what we are there to provide. I think that's kind of just quick. And then here's a couple of pictures of our dedication ceremony. And as you can see, the one veteran, he was really excited because he eventually is going to build onto this home to make a very special room for his daughter. So that was one of the good ones. She was as excited as he was, I think.
So our next presenter is Andrew.
Andrew's the founding president of Houses for Warriors. Andrew, I'll let you have it.
Thanks, Dee. Thanks, Allison. Hello, everybody. I didn't have any slide or presentation for you today. I'm actually at a job site for my moving company, and I kind of forgot about this event today. So forgive me for the way I look. But Houses for Warriors, we're based out of Lakewood, Colorado, which is the west side of Denver. And we've been nonprofit since 2019. We got our start doing a lot of habitat style projects where we were offering special adaptive housing upgrades to veteran homeowners that had disabilities. So ramps, widening hallways, exchanging carpet for hardwood, and then major repairs too. So if they needed roofs or siding or mold remediation. So we did a lot of that the first couple of years. Moving into 2021, in the heat of COVID, we had a lot of influx in calls asking for support for housing. We had, Denver was lacking transitional housing programs that were outside of the VA. And what we did is created a program that was centered around personal growth and personal development. And so the vets move in, we do extensive interviews to make sure that it's appropriate for them and that they're ready. And it's for the veterans who are ready to take their lives on. They're ready to make the changes. They're ready to be responsible. And our whole premise of our personal growth program is responsibility and accountability. So they get assigned a mentor. They move in. They get a mentor. They go through a 3-day personal growth seminar with one of our partners. They also go through an intensive 90-day accountability program, and where they're calling their mentors 3 times a week. 1 week in a month, they're doing personal growth classes. And these are everything from the way that they handle situations, the way that they control their emotions, the language that they're using, eliminating limiting beliefs. That was a tongue twister. And getting the limiting beliefs out of their minds and shifting their mindset to a limitless belief system, responsible belief system where they are the source. We say that a lot in our seminars. You are the source. You're the source of everything good and everything wrong in your life, and you have the power to change it. So we've had a lot of success in our program. All of their personal needs are taken care of, all their basic needs. So, we give them a bed. It's trauma-informed design. So everybody has their own space, and they have a private room with shared common areas and a shared kitchen. They all share responsibility for keeping the house clean, doing chores, cleaning their room, doing their linens, doing their laundry, and then self-care. We provide a lot of their food, non-perishables. We also have freezers full of meat and goods for them. We really try to make it so that they don't need to go spend money on things that we're able to get donated. We also help them get their SNAP benefits, which is food stamps in Colorado. So they get their EBT cards. They get money every month for food. We also help them with their disability claims. We have partners and referral partners that are outside of our organization that help them and assist them with their claims, filing claims and going through the disability process. We also help them with some job training. We have some training programs that we partner with. One's a culinary program, one is a construction program, and then my moving company actually hires and trains veterans as well, getting them into the relocation and moving business. The typical stay for a veteran is about 4 to 6 months. After 6 months, they're able to apply for a 6-week extension up to 3 times. So another 18 weeks on top of that 6 months is the max amount of stay. And when they move out, what's cool about our program is, having a moving company and doing what we do on that side, we get lots of donations. So we have about 5 storage units that's full of furniture and house goods. So leather couches, really nice wood furniture. beds, bed frames, flat screen TVs, computers, desks. We provide everything that we can to make sure that when they move into their apartment or a house, whether it's through HUD-VASH or SSVF, that's the Supportive Services for Veterans and Families, whatever benefits they end up acquiring, if any, or if they get that income and they're able to move out that way by having stable income and a job, then when they move out, we furnish those apartments and we take them to storage. They pick out everything they want. Anything that they want that we don't have, we have vouchers for a local thrift store that we give them up to $200, and they're able to go get any remaining items that they don't have that they still need. They raid the supplies from our in-kind donations for shampoo and toiletries, as well as cleaning supplies and paper products. And literally, they move in, they have everything to clean their house. They have kitchen supplies, plates, pots, pans, you name it. We load them up. And then beyond that, we have a follow-up program where our program director keeps in contact with them initially once a week when they first move out, and then that turns into monthly, and then it turns into quarterly, and then about every 3 to 6 months we're just checking in on them, seeing how they're going. And we provide surveys through the whole process so we can see where they start and where they end and beyond, and making sure that the personal growth and the development that they've learned and earned in our program follows them into their lives beyond the program. It's really important, that follow-up piece. And then it tracks our success. We're at about an 75 to 80% success range. We have to do some numbers. We have some new graduates and some new vets that fell out of our program. About 60% of all the veterans we work with have addiction issues, whether it's addiction to drugs or alcohol. We put them through partner programs for outpatient therapy, as well as, some of them go to rehab before they come to us. And we work with local resources as much as we can to help, aid in that aspect of their transition. Let's see. We also have an appliance replacement program. So if there's a veteran that's a homeowner, I was thinking about this when our Habitat friends were talking. If you guys need appliances and you're in the state of Colorado, Specialty Appliance is one of our partners, and they replace or give you new appliances for veterans that can't afford them. So if they can't afford repairs or they can't afford crucial appliances that they need, Specialty Appliances will donate brand new appliances with minor defects. So like if it has a scratch or a ding or something, they can't sell it. So they end up donating those to our organization and get them installed on site for the veterans. So we approach the homeless crisis from a different way. Like I said, we're very personal focused, individual focused. I don't necessarily agree with the housing first model that our nation is addressing the homeless community or the homeless crisis. We focus on the individual needs and the personal growth and development of that individual, and giving them the tools and the resources to set goals, achieve goals, be responsible, and to make good choices. We have pretty strict rules. Our home is a sober environment, so no drugs, no alcohol, nothing like that is allowed in the home. And we get really personal with them. We really dive into their lives, their finances, their spending habits, and just help them solve their problems. I think a lot of people that go through our program end up, really having a transformation. We like to call us transformational housing rather than transitional housing, because these guys are really transforming their lives and they're transforming their mindsets and becoming new people that can, take on these challenges and thrive. We don't want them just to be housed and check them off a list. We want them to be successful and contributing members of society and add value to the community. A lot of our 90-day program is revolved around community service. And you know, not to get into all the details, but I'll just share a little piece of it. They play a game called the BTC game, and they're supposed to track every time they say but, can't, or try, and be in integrity with them keeping their word that they're going to track that. And for every but, can't, and try, they're donating 1 minute, 2 minutes, and 3 minutes of community service. And so you would imagine that the first couple of weeks, they're donating, you know, 30, 40, 50 hours at times. And so right now, I just saw that question came in from Karen. We're only located in Colorado. However, we take veterans from all over the country. We've had veterans come from Florida, from Kansas, from California, from Vegas. They travel all over the country to come to Colorado and start their lives again in our program. Our program's we're starting to expand and grow. We're buying a bigger home this summer. We're also, not to get too I can't really speak on that. We're partnering with another big organization to roll out our program nationally, is our big goal. So until we have that on paper and until it's a done deal, I can't really share that and share who it is, but it's a major organization that's in and they love what we're doing. There's talks of building a campus as well as a store this summer. So we have a lot of things that we're moving towards, and you know, it's all revolving around helping our community and helping our vets.
Thanks for not forgetting about us today, Andrew. I appreciate that. I was so excited about your program, and I'm glad you had the opportunity to share it with everyone.
Well, and I wanted to go on to again apologize. I didn't follow up through like I was supposed to for Andrew last week, and I apologize. It's totally my fault. And so I appreciate, Andrew, that we were able to just hop on here and tell us about your programs. I really, really wanted you to be here to cover what you are doing for the homeless, because other people can do these things in their community. You know, Andrew has started a program, and he's very kind, and if you get in touch with him, he'll help you, give you some ideas about how to get going in his community, your community, what he was able to get going in his. So I would like to share real quick my screen and give him just Andrew again is the founding president for Houses for Warriors. So Dee, go ahead and introduce our next person.
So I'd like to introduce everyone to Christa Vutera. She's a volunteer coordinator for Tunnel to Towers in Florida. Take it away, girl.
Thank you so much, Dee. Well, thank you everyone for jumping on here today. I'm a little intimidated following those excellent presentations. You guys are doing some amazing work, and I applaud the work that AWP and everybody on this call today is doing to help our veterans with their housing solutions. So I am the Florida Volunteer Coordinator for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. It's a volunteer position. I am not paid for the work that I do, but it's a labor of love, and I'm so honored just to be able to be a part of the organization. For those of you who don't know who we are, let me back up one real quick second. I have been with the organization for about 8 years, and I am based in Tampa, but we are national. And if you'll just bear with me for 1 second, because my, there we go. Sorry, based in Tampa, but we are national. We are a national 9/11 memorial nonprofit started by the family of FDNY fallen firefighter Stephen Seller, who died on 9/11. His claim to fame that made him a miraculous human that his family decided to honor him by starting this organization is that he had worked the overnight shift in Brooklyn, where he was stationed, and the morning of 9/11, heard through the scanner that the first plane hit the tower. He was supposed to go link up with his brothers to go play golf. He called his wife and said, "Hey, let my brothers know I'm going to be running late. I've got to go check this out. I'll catch up with them later." So he drives back to his firehouse, grabs all of his gear, and gets in his personal vehicle and heads toward Manhattan. But when he gets to the Brooklyn Battery Tower, by that time, all of the passageways were closed for security purposes. So knowing that he needed to be at ground zero, he just ditched his truck on the side of the road, put on all of his gear, which weighed at least 60 pounds, and he ran for 3 miles through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel to Manhattan, where he caught up with the rest of his squad, and every single one of them perished. Stephen's body was never found. He left behind 5 children. So his family decided to honor his sacrifice by starting this organization. So what do? We provide mortgage-free homes to Gold Star and fallen first responder families that have young children. We build specially adapted smart homes for catastrophically injured veterans and first responders. We eradicate veteran homelessness, and we help America to never forget 9/11. And I'm going to talk about each of those programs and how we do what we do. Okay, so our first program is our Gold Star Family Home Program. You all obviously know what a Gold Star family is. But what we do is we will build a home if the family doesn't already have a home, or we'll pay off the mortgage for the families of fallen military service members. And this is going to be anyone who has died since 9/11, or actually the organization was started on October 7 of 2001. So anyone who is serving active that dies in the line of duty, does not have to be combat related death. It can be a training accident or anything that is tied directly to their service. We will build them a home or pay off their mortgage for the families. Our next program is similar, except that it's for first responders, and this is our Fallen First Responder Home Program. So again, we're going to build a home or pay off a mortgage for the families of fallen firefighters and law enforcement officers. So both of these two programs, the Gold Star Family Home Program and the Fallen First Responder Home Program, the requirement is that the veteran or the first responder must be married. Must have left behind a spouse and at least one child aged 16 or younger. So if someone has a child older than 16, unfortunately, they won't qualify because we're really trying to provide for the children. These two officers here are local here to Tampa. They died within a month of each other, both tragically. But if you go on our website, you can see every single program recipient. You can see every single Gold Star family or the service member of the family, and every single first responder who has been given a home or has had their mortgage paid off. Okay, so housing, that's what we're here to talk about today. So another one of our programs is our Smart Home Program. And these are custom adapted smart homes for catastrophically wounded veterans and first responders. So each house is custom adapted to that individual's needs. We all know that everyone who's been wounded in the line of duty, either military or as a first responder, they all have unique needs based on their current health conditions. So we take all of those considerations into account when we're designing and building these homes, so that the person gets exactly what they need. It doesn't do any good to build a home with a stove that lowers if the person has zero use of arms, for example. So we take all of that into consideration when we design these homes. Again, these are mostly designed for military and first responders who were killed in the line of duty on or after 10/7/01, which is when we started the organization. And the injuries include, but are not limited to, multiple amputations, quadriplegia, paraplegia, blindness, severe burns, and TBI with complications. Now, we are very liberal with those requirements, and we do make exceptions on a case-by-case basis, and we actually do that quite often. We have built smart homes for blind Vietnam veterans, you name it. Even someone who was it was a military service member who was active duty. He was not working. He was actually riding his motorcycle and on the base, had an accident, got extremely injured, paralyzed. Even though he wasn't doing official training or wasn't actually, working in the line of duty at the time of the accident, we did build him a custom smart home. So, those of you that have somebody in mind for something that might qualify, if there's any reasonable, circumstance where they potentially could qualify, go ahead and apply, because we are very, very liberal with the qualifications. So the thing, one of the really great things about these smart homes is that they really give the homeowner the opportunity to live an independent life. So we try to make them as automated and as easy to live in as possible. They have wide hallways and doorways to accommodate the wheelchairs, large showers, as you saw in the last picture, so that those wheelchairs can get in there and maneuver around. For those people that need hoists for transfers from bed to chair or bathroom or wherever, we'll have hoists throughout the house if they need hoists. And again, the sinks, the stoves, the counters, the cabinets, anything that that person needs to be able to make them independent, to work in a kitchen, to prepare food, to to do personal hygiene in the bathroom. We have the ability to have all those things raise and lower so that they're wheelchair height, so that they're accessible for those people. All of the doorways are zero entry, meaning that there are no ramps, or there's no I don't even know what you would call it, because I'm not a construction person, but there's nothing obstructing the wheelchair from getting through the front door. There's no bumps or anything. Zero entry to get into and out of all of the houses. They are all equipped with backup generators, because a lot of these people do have medical conditions that require electricity. So they all have a generator. In case of a power outage, they won't be without electricity. And they are all fully automated by iPad. They all have very smart technology, which is why they're called smart homes, that allow the homeowner to turn on lights, turn them off, open doors, close them, change the air conditioning, heat, just with a push of a button on an iPad. So we try to make everything as smart as possible, so that these people really can live more independent lives. And our other program dealing with homeless veterans is called our Homeless Veteran Program. This is a new program. It started in 2022, so we're just ramping up. It's very, very new, and we're really diving in deep into this program. So what we're doing is we're building comfort homes and apartment style buildings and providing social services for homeless veterans. In addition to these new builds and these new construction projects that we've got going on around the country, we are also buying up vacant hotels and motels and converting those into nice housing for homeless veterans. So since 2022, when we started the program, we have already housed 10,000 veterans. Because we only have that one facility that's open and operational in Houston, we are putting these people up in hotels at this point, until we can get more infrastructure built and get more housing available across the country. We have vowed to open a facility in at least every single state, and certainly several in some states as well, based on the need. So you can see that we have construction underway already right now in Memphis, Bradenton, Florida, which is just south here of Tampa, Atlanta, Bayville, Harrisburg, Las Vegas, Denver, Buffalo, Detroit, North Charleston, and Long Island. Okay, and then the picture that you saw was one of our apartment style buildings, obviously. So we, in addition to the construction that is already ongoing in those cities, we have plans in place, and we have purchased property and begun the planning process for facilities in Jacksonville, Orlando, Sacramento, Cleveland, the Bronx, West Palm Beach, Mahawes, I had to look up how to say that, Jackson, New Jersey, and Mahawes is Puerto Rico, Portland, Charlotte, Kansas City, Seattle, Dallas, and Austin. The picture here that you see is an artist rendering of the Bayville, New Jersey facility, and you can see that it is a combination of the tiny homes as well as the apartment style buildings. So with the partnership that we have with US Vets, which I'll explain here in a second, we have given grants to US Vets to help with their facilities, their already existing facilities in Riverside, California, Phoenix, Austin, and West LA. Now, if you know us, you know that we do housing. We don't know about social services. That's not our forte, and we know that. So we have partnered with US Vets to help us with those social services. We're not going to recreate the wheel and start over when we have a great organization that has agreed to partner with us to help get those veterans, to get them clean, get them sober, get them therapy, get them all of those social services that they need, so that once we get them off the streets, then that they'll stay off the streets. Our philosophy is that we don't want anyone who has ever served our country to have to live on the streets of our country. And we know that just giving them a key and a place to stay is not going to cut it. So we're taking care of the housing piece, and US Vets has graciously decided to handle all of the social services. That being said, we have probably 20 or 25 positions posted on our website right now. A lot of social service positions, a lot of construction management positions, a lot of attorney positions. So if you know anybody that's looking for work in that capacity, have them check out our website, because we're growing faster than we can possibly keep up, and we need a lot of help to do what we're doing. So please let your friends and colleagues know if they're in the job market for something along our homeless veteran program. Okay. So something very unique to Tunnel to Towers that we have here in Land O'Lakes, which is just north of Tampa, is called the Let Us Do Good Village. And it is a piece of property that was gifted to us, 72 acres, where we're building 96 homes. And that's going to be smart homes and homes for families of fallen first responders and military. Now, this facility will not include homeless veterans. This is for the program recipients for the Smart Home Program, the Gold Star Family Home Program, and the Fallen First Responder Program only. This is going to include a resort-style amenity center that's going to literally have everything you could possibly think of, including an ice cream station, a pizza kitchen, a pool, basketball, an adaptive, everything's adaptive too as well, a weight room, an art room, pickleball, I mean, you name it, we're putting it in there. So that is under construction now. It should be done at the end of this year. We currently have, I want to say it's changing so quickly, but we have 15 families in the village right now. We probably have 30 homes completed or close to completion, and we're growing quickly. We hope to have that subdivision completely filled within 5 years, completed and filled within 5 years. There's nothing like it anywhere across the country. This is a first thing that anyone has ever done, and we're considering whether or not we're going to do some more of these across the country. So stay tuned. Down the road, you may be hearing more about these villages that we are just so proud to be able to construct, so that the people that have gone through these traumas, they can raise their kids next to someone who's gone through a similar trauma. It's going to be an amazing support system, and it's already working. The families that are in there are extremely close. They literally don't lock their doors. People just come and go. It's an amazing thing that we've been able to do to have these families live amongst other families that understand what it's like to be them. And for those of you, if there's any of you who are here local to the Tampa Bay area, our next home dedication is on April 23 at 11 a.m. So please come if you're local and available to come join us for that event. Real quickly, a couple other things that we do at Tunnel to Towers Foundation is we have created an elementary curriculum educating students about 9/11. Not every state is required to educate about 9/11 in elementary schools. Florida is, but we have provided a curriculum for those states who do require or want to teach about 9/11. So that is available for our educators. And then we also have a 9/11 Never Forget mobile exhibit. And this is an exhibit that literally drives, it's an 18-wheeler, as you see. It literally drives across the country and sets up, it pops out, it makes this huge museum, and it has artifacts and stories and pictures, and it's all curated by retired FDNY firefighters who actually worked at 9/11 on that day, and they can tell some amazing stories, and they're who better to curate the museum than those folks. So if you go on our website, if you're interested in having the mobile museum come to your community, you can request it. There is a fee. It's pretty pricey to get that thing driving across the country. So there is a fee, but you can find information on our website about how to get the museum to come to your community. And just how we get our funding, we are all, we get our funding from the community. Our $11 a month program is our biggest fundraiser. 9/11, our numbers are 11. We have the Twin Towers that look like an 11. Our claim to fame is, hey, give us $11 a month if you can afford it. It's not much money. It comes out of your bank without even you having to do anything, and that's how we raise the majority of our money. So $11 a month is our big fundraising program. But we also do fundraisers across the country, and we have over 100, and these are people just like me, volunteers who have decided, hey, I want to do a fundraiser. I'm going to do either a golf, tennis, or pickleball tournament. I'm going to do a 5K run walk. I'm going to do a tower climb, a stair climb. Or we also have teams. We're not putting on marathons, but we have teams that attend these marathons as the Tunnel to Towers team to raise money for the organization. And you can find out about all of those events on those links. One cool thing about our fundraisers is that the first responders and military, they all wear their full gear, including the firefighters. Some of them do wear their air packs, so they're climbing all these stairs, and they're running a 5K carrying 60 pounds just to emulate what Stephen Siller did on 9/11. So it's a pretty cool sight to see. And then the last thing is just I want to go over our numbers a little bit. So we have committed over $1 billion to our programs, and that includes 1,500 homes that are completed or in the process of being completed. We have educated over 1 million people based on our elementary curriculum and the mobile museum. And 93% of all of the funds that we bring in do go directly to our programs. That number does fluctuate year to year. Right now, we're doing a huge fundraising campaign, and so our numbers have gone down thanks to the increase in fundraising dollars that we've spent. You may have seen our commercials, unless you're paying for ad-free streaming, but we've got a lot of advertising out there right now, TV commercials. We do have a 4 out of 4 rating on Charity Navigator. We're very, very proud of that. We are very transparent with our numbers. You can see our tax returns are posted right on our website. So we're very proud of the 4 out of 4 Charity Navigator rating. We have mostly volunteer-run activities. So everybody across the country that does put on these fundraisers, we're all volunteers. There is a small group of employees in Staten Island, New York, but most of the national work is done by volunteers. So we do that because we want to keep the cost down as low as we can. Our CEO, Frank Seller, is unpaid. He is actually the brother of Steven Seller. He does not collect a paycheck, so we're very proud of that as well. And that is all that I have. So Allison, turn it back over to you, or Dee.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank David, Michael, Heidi, Andrew, Christa, and to all of you. Thank you for collaborating and sharing this with all your presentations. At America's Warrior Partnership, we partner with communities to improve veterans' quality of life and thereby reducing veterans' death by suicide or self-harm. That is our goal. We believe communities are the best equipped to improve veterans' quality of life, and our goal here is, like our goal today, is to provide community partners like yourself and support information, best practice to help them deliver quality service to veterans in our own communities. The next Battle Rhythm is on May 5th, and it's sadly titled Combating Veteran Predator Fraud, which we know is a huge issue nowadays, and we hope you can attend. Thanks, everybody, for enjoying today, and we hope to see you next time.